Hello everyone, here we are at the beginning of Module 4. We're just over halfway point in the course. I thought I would check in with you this week, go over a little bit about what we're going this week, and clarify a few things that I'm seeing kind of percolate up in the course. But with that, let's go in there real quickly and check what we're doing this week. And this week, let me go to the modules real quick. This week, Module 4. All right, so we're doing 2 one-pagers. All right, so we got the one-pagers this week, 2 of them. 2 pages of work, not too difficult. We're also going to be talking, you'll see a video in there about a really cool application you may want to try for your phone. It's free, and it's done by the same guys that do our textbook. So kind of a cool little piece there that you may want to play around with on your phone. So stay tuned for that. So we got the 2 one-pagers. We're going to appraise the literature and we're going to acquire information from the organization. So there was some questions from students about what am I supposed to do my one-pager on? And the way it's supposed to work is that let's see here what we're doing this week. Hold on one second. All right. So this week we are in Chapter 7. Let's double check if I'm correct. I think we're on Chapter 7 and Chapter 8. Yes, so chapters 7 and 8. So that's pretty much the way this course works, is that each one-pager will correspond to the information that we will be presenting for that week. And so let me go back to Chapter 7. Here we go. I should have marked these pages before I started the video. Here we go. So Chapter 7, it's as you can see here, let me open up our window here. Yeah, so this week, Chapter 7, evidence from scientific literature. And Chapter 8, which will be our next one. Yep, acquire evidence from the organization. Okay, so if you look at those, hopefully I haven't confused you guys completely in doing all this stuff. That will match up to, what we are doing that week. So we've got the appraise the literature and acquire information from the organization. That's all you're doing. You're summarizing the information from that chapter in a one-page format. Let's talk a little bit about that format and revisit the whole thing about the one-pagers and why, why we're even, my hope for doing it. So the one-pagers are a way for you to summarize that particular step in the evidence-based management process in your own words. And we've got 2 ways that you can do it. I mean, there might be other ways, I guess there could be other ways, but I think the easiest way to do it is either you do it in a narrative format. Some of you are doing that. By narrative, I mean you're writing paragraphs, and you're summarizing the reading. Some of you have gone the bullet point route. Again, whatever your personal preference is, I kind of like the bullet point route, but that's just me if I were to do it. You do it however you want. And if you want to change, you can change. I know I say in the instructions you probably want to stay consistent through the course. But again, if you don't like one way, switch to the other, totally fine. The purpose of it is it's yours. It's yours to use. The hope is that when you are done with this class, you'll forget everything. You won't remember anything 3 weeks from now. But if you are presented with a situation in your organization and you're like, yeah, there was that course about evidence-based decision making. Maybe that would apply to what we're discussing here. And maybe I can guide our work group, our department, our whatever through the process, but I don't remember how to do that. Well, you can either pull out this textbook, which you probably will sell as soon as the course is over, or rent it and return it. Or, of course, you can go on the internet and Google around, and you'll find some stuff there. You can also use those one-pagers that you've assembled. So the hope is that at the end, you kind of, if you want, you can merge all those. There's a merge function. You can do it out there. You can merge all those documents into one, and you have a nice little packet that will guide you through the evidence-based management process. So that's what we're trying to do with the one-pagers. Now, there's also been a couple questions or a couple things that I'm noticing in a few of the one-pagers. And where students might be getting some points off. So I just want to revisit that as well. So I am going to show you guys what I think is a pretty, again, chosen at random. I literally was clicking around until I found one like, yeah, this is great. Let me share it with the group. So if I'm not sharing your particular version of greatness, please don't be offended. There were a lot of fantastic ones out there. This is just the first one that was like, yeah, this is super solid. So let's take a look at that real quick. So here is a student and who will remain nameless, but they put this together. They're doing the bullet point format. Nice. You know, the bullet points are very easy to read. They've got a lot of good information. They've used the entire page as well, so I can scroll down. So they're like making the best use of all the real estate on that page. They've even used narrower margins too, so I think that was pretty good. Some of you, again, I know that you're, some of you are putting your name, the date, maybe my name, the college, up in the left-hand corner, double space, and you're almost wiping out maybe an eighth of the page or a sixth of a page just with header information. No headers, none of that's necessary. Again, what was kind of cool about what this student did is they, let me just remove my picture altogether. I mean, they literally one line, up in the top, narrow margins, and module 2, appraise, which you had to probably write anyway. So that was pretty cool. And again, a lot of information here, utilizing a full page. Not like double spaced, huge type. Again, we want to cover all of the information presented within that chapter. If you're reading 30 pages of stuff, 25 pages of stuff, you should be able to have enough information, unless the author is absolutely horrible. You're going to have enough information to robustly fill a single page. Like this, I think it's a great kind of a great sampling of what they should look like. And again, the hope is that you use this stuff down the road and you're able to put it in your own words, because again, you'll forget everything. One of the things that's cool about evidence-based management is that, or evidence-based anything, I mean, this does not have to be for management. You can apply this to various parts of your life in approaching any kind of situation, problem, question. Doesn't fit all portions of life. Sometimes you do need to make decisions quickly, and you don't have time to go through this process. But if you have the time and you've got the structure, it makes a great way to do it. So yeah, that's the hope, that you guys take this away and are able to use this down the road for your organizations, your work groups, what have you, and maybe even use it in various aspects of your personal and social life. Maybe you're volunteering for organizations and they're needing to figure out stuff, and you can use this. But you won't remember how to do it, so you'll have your handy dandy one-pagers that you did for this course that will guide you through the process, hopefully quickly, rather than reading this whole thing again. There are some good resources on the internet, but there's nothing better than having things kind of in your own words, that you've kind of used your own mind to get your mind around the process. Another thing I want to touch on real quickly before we check out is there is some confusion, or I wouldn't say confusion, some questions, or I'm seeing some percolations. Percolation, is that a word? I'm seeing some cross pollination or something between evidence-based clinical practice and evidence-based management. So the evidence-based clinical practice and evidence-based, medical decision making, they've led this whole thing. It started pretty much with those guys, with the nurses, the doctors, the allied health professionals, which would make sense. It's a very high stakes decision. It's your human life, human health. You want to get it right. So it does seem logical that these processes are coming out of that area. And now business is going, hey, yeah, let's use that. Let's use that for us as well. So that I think is natural. And then a lot of you are, if not all of you, are medical professionals or training to be medical professionals. And you're still thinking with the evidence-based, maybe nursing practice or other practices. And there's a lot of, I guess there's a natural tendency to bleed the two across. Try to keep this keep this as a managerial process, a business process, if you will, rather than clinical. There were some students with examples that were perfectly correct in that they were evidence-based decision making, because they were using examples within their one pagers, but they were clinically based. So, which is, I mean, it's good, but remember, this is going to be from a management. We're not improving necessarily medical decision making. Now, what we can be doing is improving things that processes, managerial processes that end up improving patient outcomes. So, so yes, you can do that, and that's pretty much what a lot of evidence-based management is ultimately doing in healthcare, is to support those clinical processes that are going on, and some of those clinical processes are going to be evidence-based, clinical decisions. But we aren't doing that in this course as far as medical-based, evidence-based decision making. So, if you're thinking, and I had some students reach out about there's going to be a CAT due at the end of the course, and should it be, it was definitely more clinically oriented was the examples that they were giving me. And I was like, well, that is true. It's evidence-based decision making, but it's from a clinical perspective. We're a management perspective. So just twist that decision and twist that problem a bit to make sure it's more administrative or management based. Again, it could still be related to the problem. Maybe you got, I'll just make this up. Urinary tract infections involved with catheterization. Okay, that's a big problem in hospitals, and you want to do evidence-based practices to improve that process. Okay, well, okay, that definitely is a medical thing. You can look at best practices for that. Maybe it's hand washing, sanitizing, whatever it might be, and how that's being done. But then, okay, so how can I still, maybe I like that topic, but how can I use it for management? Well, maybe the question would be, how do we roll out an education and training program to improve XYZ, or to educate staff in whatever it might be, staff, medical staff in whatever. So yeah, it doesn't take much to go from clinical hardcore bedside decisions to administrative management decisions. There's only maybe usually only one step away from that, if not two, that you can just kind of project it out. So that's what this course is about. It's kind of step back from wearing your scrubs. A lot of you do. I know a lot of you wear scrubs. Step back from that and think about what would you do, like if you're wearing, your business suit, your power suit, what have you, from that standpoint. So there you go. There's a little bit of observations on that. All right, guys, that pretty much covers it for this week. I will check in with you for, Module 5, Week 5. Everybody have a fantastic week. Thanks.